David Higgins, welcome to the channel once again. With this potential fight with Joseph Parker, Junior Fa, a lot of media headlines in recent days, where do things stand right now?
Right now, we're locked in a negotiation, but I think it's fair to say we're edging closer to a possible deal, but there's absolutely no deal yet.
So what are the sort of outstanding sticking points at this point from your side?
Well, the biggest one is money. So we've given a major concession and raised the minimum guarantee to the Junior Fa side to 500,000 New Zealand dollars. They also want a share of any pay-per-view, and that we're haggling over that because there's a saying in life, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So, we're underwriting all the financial risk, employing the staff, doing the work, and they wanted a big guarantee, but now we're haggling over the share.
And is it a case, because obviously with the current pandemic and regional options being a little bit limited, that it does give them a bit more leverage than they would have, say, in normal circumstances?
Yep. I mean, if it wasn't for the pandemic, we'd be having the third fight on Joseph Parker's matchroom contract. Joseph would be receiving more money, and it would likely be in the United Kingdom or the USA. So Junior Fa should thank his lucky stars, be grateful for the opportunity. He's worked very hard. He seems like a humble, nice lad who's worked hard his whole life. And I know how risky this business is. When the opportunity comes, you take it, because the opportunity might not come again.
And if you were to sort of put a percentage figure on how likely this fight is actually to get made, what would it be?
I can't really say. I am in dialogue with Lou DiBella, Junior Fa's promoter, and that's a positive sign. I think realistically, no one has any real other options at the moment. But that doesn't mean we'll be extorted. Joseph Parker's invested wisely and doesn't need the money, and he's got principles, so we're not going to have a gun put to our head. We've been, I think, offered over the odds and more than fair, and so it starts to look a bit greedy and pathetic if they're trying to extort more money than is fair.
But it would be fair to say this is the closest that this fight has been to be made, isn't it?
I would say so, yes.
And if you do get it over the line, where are you looking to have it?
That's up for grabs, really. It has a value to the destination at Lansdowne. I know for a fact that a lot of New Zealanders and wealthy New Zealanders who can't go on holidays will be looking for things to do. There's not a lot of sport. So whatever city it lands in, a lot of people will travel to that city, stay 3 nights in a hotel, spend money, probably be worth $200 to $300 a night to the visitor economy. You might have a few thousand people travel. So it's worth a few $1 million in GDP to the location, and it'll also be on worldwide television. It'll be live on British Sky Sports, on DAZN, and around the world. And so it does have benefits, and we're looking to see what locations understand that and are willing to help us make the fight happen.
And I have seen that you've mentioned Queenstown and Dunedin with the stadium there. Are those two southern cities in New Zealand sort of the front runners at this point, or is there others that could come in here into play?
No, there's no front runner. We'll look at all locations. Joseph's fought in Auckland, Hamilton, Palmerston North, Christchurch and Invercargill. It'd be nice to go somewhere new like Queenstown or Dunedin, Wellington. But then again, Auckland is always strong with its fan base, and both guys from Auckland. So, all options are on the table.
And this is a fight that the boxing fans in New Zealand are going to be sort of tuning in for. Obviously, there's a rivalry from the amateurs. There's the sort of Samoan and Tongan angle too. Is that the sort of those sorts of spokes, what you're going to try to get the sort of casual boxing fan, the all-important casual boxing fan sort of hooked into this fight?
No, I think it's bigger than that. I mean, some of the die-hard boxing fans, the old school ones, won't appreciate the matchup, and they'll turn their noses up at it in a snobby fashion. disregarding the fact that there are no other options. And then they'll pretend they're not going to watch it, but they'll be the first to buy it and first to watch it. But they're going to watch anyway. I think this is a big enough event that'll transcend the boxing fan, and we'll get most sports fans and most New Zealanders tuning in to watch.
And do you really believe you can sort of get sort of a huge buy rate for this fight, given these two have history and the sort of factors involved with it?
Yeah, well, I think it'll be up there. It might not be number one. It's big. There is history. They're both ranked in the top 10 with the WBO. Junifa's unbeaten. There's credibility there, and there's not a lot else happening. And so there's a bit of a vacuum for sport, and so I think it could be one of the biggest sporting events this year.
And I guess just changing tack a little bit, I mean, how important is this fight in terms of protecting the WBO ranking that Parker currently has?
I'm not sure. I mean, keeping busy is important, and keeping busy never hurts. And, fighters do get ranked down when they're not busy. So if guys like Povetkin and White fight and are busy, then at the next rankings you're at a risk that someone gets ranked up above you. So certainly keeping busy is important, and you'd be silly to disregard that. And you never quite know how these sanctioned bodies work. Joseph is world number 2 with WBO, former world champion, and fighting will help to retain that ranking. And similarly for Junifa, who's ranked number 6, fighting and keeping busy will help him too.
And obviously with the pandemic sort of flaring up in New Zealand, Auckland at alert level 3 at the time that we do this interview, the rest of the country placed at level 2. What sort of extra sort of dimension does that add to the sort of planning of this sort of event, and does it sort of throw up any sort of issues like potentially putting it back a month or two?
Well, it's business as usual. You contract the event, you announce the event, you put the event on sale, and your backup dates booked. And if for any reason it can't go ahead on the scheduled date, and often it's because of injury in boxing, you simply move to the next date and everyone moves over. And that happens all the time. It's not really a problem. It's quite manageable.
And what date are you currently looking at if you are to sort of get this over the line? What would be your preferred month that you'd like to have it in?
Well, it's flexible, but I think now it's more likely to be November or December, just because Junior Far's side ran the time down, so we pulled the pin on any effort to do it in October. And if they run the time down again, then we'll pull the pin again.
Recent days, there's been some headlines that regarding some of the companies that you've been involved with, a few going into liquidation. What sort of bearing, if any, does that have on sort of staging this sort of event, or is it more just sort of those companies weren't sort of being run and active at this point and you're focusing on your other businesses?
Yes, well, that has absolutely zero bearing, and I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, but that was completely fake news. The reality of the situation is that our Duco group of companies is going strong. We have 3 main trading vehicles being Duco Events. It's been around many years, going strong. It runs the Black Clash event at Christchurch, International Rugby League, tourism and event consulting. We've got Duco Touring Limited, which runs the Symphony Music Tour, which is expanding worldwide. And we've got Sports Advisory and Management, which has the managerial contract with Joseph Parker and does boxing. Now, the 3 companies I voluntarily liquidated by my own choice, shell companies have been sitting there doing nothing for years. One of them hadn't even done anything 8 years, and COVID lockdown has given us a chance to tidy up stuff. And, there's no point having 3 companies sitting there doing nothing and paying for the annual filing with the company's office and all of that. The sensible thing is to liquidate them. And it's really sad that sensationalist New Zealand media ignored those realities and managed to spin it in a way that some people who don't understand company law, etc., form the view that we're in trouble. We're not. The opposite is true. I could have possibly sued for defamation, but you never win picking a fight with the media. So, it is what it is. And I think we've got major stuff in the pipeline and announcements. And what will happen when all that plays out, the media question will look a bit silly.
And is there anything else that you think would be important to mention at this time with a potential fight between Parker and Farr, and anything else that's sort of going on around that?
Matchroom, I think, are speculating about doing the Eddie Hearn Lawn series. It's been quite successful, and credit them for pulling it off, and that may go further. So if things don't work out with Junior Farr, then I guess we could put our hand up to quarantine up to London and do that third fight. But, that for now we're concentrating on trying to see if we can talk sense into the Junior Farr camp.